Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Selena, but you can also call me Bambi. I am a faith-based content creator. I like to make videos along the lines of lifestyle, habits, routine that help you get organized and help you become a better person, a more organized individual, someone who's more confident in who you are in God. If that sounds like something that resonates with you, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, the thumbs up, because I see a lot of you that view my videos are not subscribers. And what are you waiting for? If you subscribe, I like to do this thing on my community tab where I run polls on what the next video will be, and you get to be a part of that when you subscribe. But today we're going to talk about how to set goals and actually attain them. Crazy, especially if you tend to be kind of all over the place like me. You like to multitask and you find it hard to just zone in to one thing and actually get that one thing done. This is the video for you because I am super all over the place, but I've had to learn that focusing on less is actually going to help you more. So let's start with point number one, establishing a why. Establishing a why is really important because this is the foundation and the motivator that's going to keep you going when you don't see progress. Because let's face it, you're not going to see progress right away. A lot of times it's kind of like, I like to liken it to how a farmer plants seeds. The farmer knows that if he plants a seed, he's not going to see the fruit, he's not going to see the crop for a few weeks, a few months, and sometimes they don't take. Sometimes the weather, the circumstances, the environment is not the exact environment for that fruit to produce. So establishing a why is super important because it is going to be the thing that motivates you when you don't see any crop coming from the seed that you've planted. It's going to be the thing that keeps you going. Whenever you're in a rut or whenever you're in the middle of attaining a goal, you have to ask yourself, why did I start this to begin with? I would write it down somewhere. This is my why. And your why has to be a lot heavier, denser than just superficial things such as appearance or money. Usually, if your why is other-centered, your motivation is going to be stronger. So instead of saying, for example, let's say you're setting a goal to lose weight or to get healthy. Why is it that you want to lose weight? Why is it that you want to get healthy? If your reason for wanting to lose weight or getting healthy is I want to fit into a certain size pair of jeans, then you're probably not going to make it. And the reason why is because your why is not strong enough. That's not a strong enough why. Your why could be something like, instead of saying I want to fit into this size pair of jeans, you could say something like, because I want to be there for my family for a long time, because I want to be able to pick up my niece, because I want to be able to have kids, because I just want longevity so that I can attain more in life, or just things like that, or because I want to help people. And if I want to help people, how is it that I'm going to stick around if I'm not healthy, if I'm not making healthy choices? Your why is very important, but also what it's framed around is equally as important. So that's step number one. Step number two, setting small goals and celebrating each one. Let's go back to getting healthy. Let's say you want to get healthy, but you think it's going to be done in a month. Instead of saying, I want to lose 20 pounds in a month, which is not realistic and not sustainable, you should set smaller goals. So setting smaller goals is going to motivate you more because if you set a smaller benchmark, then every time you reach that, you actually get a hit of dopamine. You get a hit of serotonin because you actually attained this mini goal. And each time you do that, you build more confidence within yourself. So set mini goals and then setting long-term goals. Your small goals should be within a couple weeks to a month span. Something that you can attain within that frame of time, right? And when you do attain them, be sure to celebrate. So celebrating may entail something like taking yourself out for dinner or going to a movie or having a fun weekend with your friends or buying yourself that thing that you've been waiting to buy yourself, okay? So it's kind of like a reward system that you're setting up for yourself when you attain the small goals. Now, as far as setting long-term goals is also important because you want to get into this mindset where this is a commitment. I know it's going to take a while. I know, and I'm committed and I'm ready. So to keep me motivated, I'm going to set small goals, but what I'm actually working towards is the long-term goal. And the long-term goal is going to be your ultimate destination. And when you set the long-term goal, set a long-term time. Okay, and you don't even have to set a time. Just say that this is the long-term goal. This is where I eventually want to end up. Setting a time will probably limit you, and on top of that, it limits God. But say this is ultimately where I would like to go. How it looks in the end is really up to God. So when you're setting these mini goals, long-term goals, make sure to keep track of the progress. A way that I keep track of my progress is I journal on a regular basis. Everybody is different. Updating what's new, how far you've come in the last 2 weeks, the last month. Just keeping track of your progress. And here's the thing about progress. Progress is not always linear, right? It's not going to look like this. It's probably going to look like this. And as long as the trend is trending upwards, we are progressing, because progress is not always going to look like this. It's hardly ever going to look like that. Let's just be real. Do not talk about your goals in their infancy. And the reason why is because when you're setting a goal and you start talking to people about your goals, they then feel the need to insert their approach, which is fine. But when they're in their infancy, and if you tend to be the type of person, which I'd imagine if you're watching this video, you want to learn how to set goals and actually attain them because you tend to get sidetracked, it is probably not a wise idea to talk to anybody about your goals in their infant state. And the infancy of a goal is before it's even had any action put towards it at all. If it's just in the idea stage, don't talk to anyone about it. Don't talk about it, be about it. Saying you can't seek counsel from someone, but don't seek counsel when it's not even in action yet. The time I would seek counsel is if you have a small knit group of friends that you know are going to be supportive, because the goal itself, as long as it's not harming anyone else or harming yourself, there's no reason why you shouldn't go doing it. Be mindful of who you share your goals with, because if you're anything like me, I'm very easily influenced because I'm sensitive. And when someone tells me, I don't think that's a good idea, I get discouraged. Like, I'm just gonna be real. I get discouraged. Not everybody is like that. Some people don't care and they just keep going. But it's human psychology. We care. We care about what other people think. And so it's really important to take care of your goal like a little baby. It's a baby. Like, you wouldn't expose your baby to like super loud music or big crowds of people when they're like really young, would you? I mean, you would want to wait until they're old enough. So that's kind of like how I see your goal. You want to baby your goal until it's time, until you've set a little foundation. The time you can start talking about it is when you're actually already producing. Once you're producing, then you can go and seek counsel on like how to fine tune it. But once you get the ball rolling, it's kind of hard to stop anyways. So don't talk about it, be about it, okay? Be stubborn about your goals, but flexible about what they end up looking like. And the reason why is because sometimes we think that we know what we need, but in truth, if we are going to approach this from a biblical standpoint, we can go to Isaiah 55:8-9, which is, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, saith the Lord. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts." So in this way, it reminds us that, or scripture reminds us, that we may have an idea of what we think we need or what we think we want, but at the end of the day, God's ways are always higher than our ways. And so we need to be, while setting and attaining goals from a biblical standpoint, we have to understand that sometimes our perspective is limited. And God knows so much more about what's better for us than we do. We think we know. And we might have an idea. We might have a loose idea, but God at the end of the day knows better. And He's going to have a much better outcome for you if you surrender to that. Because when we fight that, that's when we end up in places we shouldn't have been in the first place. So know that God's ways are higher than our ways. And another thing is, when you're on your journey to discovering what this thing is, or when you're on your journey to attaining this goal, again, it's important to not make this goal about attaining certain appearance or certain money standards. It has to be deeper than that. The reason why I say this is because when you would try to attain goals for this reason, God is not going to give it to you if you're his child. He's not going to give it to you because that is an approach of the world. God wants you to seek things for deeper purposes. He doesn't want you to seek things because they have a vanity to them. We can see this displayed in 1 Kings chapter 3 when Solomon asked for wisdom. At Gibeon, the Lord appeared to Solomon during the night in a dream, and God said, "Ask for whatever you want me to give you." Solomon answered, "You have shown great kindness to your servant, my father David, because he was faithful to you and righteous and upright in heart, and you have continued this great kindness to him, and have given him a son to sit on this throne to this very day. Now, Lord, my God, you have made your servant king in place of my father David, but I am only a little child and do not know how to carry out my duties. Your servant is here among the people you have chosen, a great people, too numerous to count or number. So give your servant a discerning heart to govern your people and to distinguish between right and wrong. For who is able to govern this great people of yours?" The Lord was pleased that Solomon had asked for this, so God said to him, "Since you have asked for this, and not for long life or wealth for yourself, nor have you asked for the death of your enemies, but for discernment in administering justice, I will do what you have asked, and I will give you a wise and discerning heart, so that there will have never been anyone like you, nor will there ever be. Moreover, I will give you what you have not asked for, both wealth and honor, so that in your lifetime you will have no equal among kings. And if you walk in obedience to me and keep my decrees and commands as David your father did, I will give you a long life." Then Solomon awoke and he realized it had been a dream. God gave Solomon what he asked for, but because he framed it in a way that was deeper than vanity, and I'm not saying this is something that you should be motivated like, oh, I'm going to say this, but I actually want this. God knows the desires of your heart. So if you truly desire what you say you're desiring, he will know it. Your desires have to be deeper than for yourself. Your desires have to be deeper than vanity. And so, because Solomon didn't ask for the vanity, Solomon asked for wisdom. He asked for knowledge as to how to govern his people correctly. What do you want? What do you want your people to know? How do you want me to treat your people, God? Because I have no idea what I'm doing. That's basically what King Solomon was doing here in this verse. And it's just so powerful because that's how we should be attaining or approaching our goals. This is how we should be approaching God in his throne in regards to our goals. They should be deeper than that. Expect mockers and expect discouragement, but use it as motivation. So there are going to be people that don't believe in you before they see it, because it is human tendency to not see the vision. Because listen, God gave you the instruction, he gave you the desire, and he gave you the vision for this thing. And so no one else is going to see it. God had it that way for a reason. This is why it's between you and God. So who do you consult when you're attaining this goal? It's God. It's the man upstairs. Don't rely on people. Yes, you can love people, but don't love them in exchange for their approval. It's not going to get you anywhere, trust me. I've done it a lot. Do not be afraid of failure. Failure does not mean you stop trying. Failure does not mean you're not meant for this thing. Failure simply means it is time for redirection. Or get this, there was a time when Simon Peter was in a boat and Jesus told Simon Peter to let down his net. And Simon Peter said, "But Jesus, we already been at this all morning. Jesus, we already tried this." And Jesus said, "Let down your net one more time." And what happened? When he let down his net, they caught so many fish. The net was ripping. It was overflowing. Sometimes it's not the right time. That doesn't mean you give up. You keep going. You keep going. Maybe it wasn't the right season. Maybe you weren't doing it for the right reasons. It's doing the thing when you don't want to do the thing. And you're not going to want to do the thing all the time. You're going to be highly motivated at the beginning. You're in the middle and you're sweating and you're wondering, you haven't seen any fruit, just breaking your back. You're not going to want to rely on motivation. You have to treat it like a job. Treat it like you made a contract to yourself. Sign it and say, I'm gonna show up. And every single day you put a little tiny bit towards that thing. You're gonna get there eventually. Being consistent is Proverbs 6, chapters 6 through 8. Take a lesson from the ants, you lazy bones. Learn from their ways and become wise. Though they have no prince or governor or ruler to make them work, they labor hard all summer, gathering food for the winter. Please be encouraged. Do not give up on your dreams. Do not give up. And I'm not telling you that this is a formula to make things happen overnight, but if you stick to this, if you stick to these steps, you will make it there. You have to be consistent. I believe in you. You're a dreamer. That's the reason why you clicked on this video. Believe in yourself. Believe that you have the ability to do it. First, you have to believe that you and God together, you're partnering together to make this thing happen, because ultimately this thing is not going to benefit just you. When dreamers dream, it's for more than themselves. Remember when Joseph had that dream about his brothers and them kneeling to him, right? Ultimately, his dream had nothing to do with him. It was all about saving his family. But he was the person through which God decided to carry out this thing. And that can be you. For your family, for your friends, for people you don't even know. You could be the answer to something. God is trying to use you, so let him use you. God bless you guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Again, if you're not subscribed, go ahead and click the subscribe button. Hit the thumbs up as well, because that really helps. And I just thank you so much for sticking it out with me. God bless you. Love you. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.